Hi, this is Jamie Grunwell from GoSafety Solutions. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the hazard register and about risk and the risk rating table. So if we go down to our index, we can see under 3, we've got all the hazard and risk management processes and tools. Okay? And number 3 is the hazard risk management procedure. So if we quickly open that up, you can see that we've got our hazard risk management procedure. Now, a hazard is anything that can cause harm or damage to anything or anybody. And a risk is the likelihood or consequence of that hazard. So this is the hazard risk management procedure, and you can go and have a look and a read of this at your own time. It talks about elimination and substitution minimization of hazards. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the health and safety induction. So if you go down, you can see all of the different types of hazards you can have. And it basically gives you a little bit of a guide on how to report a hazard, what to do when you've got that hazard, which I'll also talk about in the video to come. Okay, so if we go down to the bottom here, you can see here, we've got how we rate risk. And rating health and safety risk is very similar to how they rate your risk for insurance. For example, if you live in Auckland, your insurance is going to be higher because there's more likelihood that your car's going to be stolen than it is if you live in Taupo, for example. Okay, so there's a little bit of information here about the risk rating. It's not an exact science, and different people will rate risk differently. And if you're in a committee situation, you'll find that some people are rating the risk a certain way and some are rating in another way. It's just a bit of a guide on how to rate risk. Okay, so you need to gather your information and then work out the likelihood of an injury or harm occurring. Consider the amount of people that could be harmed or exposed to the hazard and for how long. And use the information in the risk rating table below to see what the risk rating has come out to. Once you've got a risk in place and you've got a risk rating in place, it pays to also check that you've got it correct, the risk rating, and if you haven't got it correct, to reassess the risk. It also pays that if you've put a control into place and you think the risk rating's low, to check it in 6 months to a year's time to make sure that the risk rating is still low and you think that the control's adequate. Okay, so the risk rating table, how it works. Again, insurance companies do a very similar thing. You can see it's on likelihood and consequence. So if you look here at likelihood, you can see that it's likely that the risk or the hazard's going to be improbable, that it's going to hurt somebody. It only occurs in exceptional circumstance, 1 to 5 years. Is it remote? Is the hazard remote? Could occur at some stage approximately annually. Is it likelihood? Is it possible? Could occur at some stage approximately monthly. Is it probable? Will probably occur approximately weekly. Or is it frequent? The hazard will occur frequently on a weekly basis or a daily basis. And then you come down here to consequence. Is it catastrophic? Will it seriously hurt a number of people or kill somebody? Is the hazard major? Extensive injuries requiring hospitalisation? Is it moderate, where the person, if they got hurt, is going to have to go, or the harm to an object is going to have to go and get professional treatment? either at the hospital or a panel beater? Is it low? Is it first aid or minor injury? Or is it negligible? It's a minor incident or no injury, like a scratch. So if we decided to think about a pothole on the road in a 100-kilometre-an-hour area on a corner, we could say that chances of, so we look, what's the likelihood of a car hitting that pothole, having something go wrong with the car, or the car veering off and hitting another car. So because it's a fairly busy road, we'll say that it's quite probable or it's frequent. So it's frequent to occur. So we'll say it's number 25, it's in the red. And we go down to consequence and we go, how catastrophic could it be? Could it be multiple injuries, extensive injuries, or death? Yes, it probably could be. So we'll go across there, catastrophic, frequent, and we get 25 in the red. So really it's an extreme risk. Stop immediately, action required to reduce risk. Now, if it's somebody tripped on the footpath, then we'd say, what's the likelihood? Maybe there's 20 people using that footpath on a daily. And what's the chances of them tripping over? That's probably possible. You could say it's possible because we haven't heard of anybody else tripping over on there, but it's possible. So it's catastrophic, is it? No, it's moderate. Medical treatment, we'll say that it's possible. Moderate, so you can see it's number 9, which is in the yellow. It's a significant risk, action required immediately, implement controls. So if we're looking at the same hazard, and this is the first time we've heard about it, and the footpath's been there for 10 years, it's probably improbable that's going to happen again. And it's probably going to be maybe still a moderate injury or a low. Let's say it's a 3 in the green. It's a green down here is a low risk. Consider action and monitor the risk. So we'll just put that hazard onto our hazard register and we'll just monitor the risk. We'll monitor to see if it happens again. And that's all we need to do. And obviously, if somebody else comes in and has the same near hit, an incident or over the next few weeks, then we'll start looking at our risk rating table and deciding whether it's more possible or more frequent or it's more major. Okay, so that's kind of how the risk rating works. This is the risk rating guide. Extreme risk, stop immediately. High risk is the blue. Urgent action required. Significant risk means action required. Implement controls. Orange is a moderate risk. Consider controls and monitor the risk. And green is where we want risk to be ultimately. It's the desirable risk. Now, you can go when you get a hazard or an incident, you can do the risk rating to see what you need to do, whether you need to control it immediately under extreme risk or it's a low risk. And then you add it to your hazard register or your incident register. And once the controls are in place, you monitor the risk again to say, hey, we've got rid of that trip hazard in the path. Now we'll do a risk rating, and we've found the risk rating's actually a 2, right in the green, or wherever it is. It pays to monitor that hazard to make sure the risk rating doesn't change. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. Cheers.